Are you feeling torn about whether or not to block the divine masculine? Is your heart aching with the weight of that decision, unsure if creating distance will bring clarity or only deepen the pain? Many on the twin flame journey find themselves at this difficult crossroads, wondering if taking such a step is an act of self-love or a mistake that could sever something sacred. In today's video, we at Spiritual Universe will guide you through one of the most emotionally charged questions on the twin flame path. Should you block the divine masculine? Together, we'll explore what this decision truly means, not just on a practical level, but on a spiritual and energetic one. Can you ever really block a soul connection? What are the emotional consequences? And could this choice actually support the awakening process in ways you haven't considered? By the end of this video, you'll gain a deeper understanding of your own energy, your emotional boundaries, and the powerful dynamics at play in your connection. This isn't about right or wrong. It's about stepping into your truth. You'll leave with greater clarity, emotional strength, and a renewed sense of alignment with your soul's journey. So we challenge you, don't just skim the surface. Watch all the way through. Because what you discover today may not only shift your perspective on your divine masculine, it may completely transform the way you relate to your own healing and inner power. Number 1. Blocking the divine masculine and reclaiming the self. You may have heard the saying, blocking the divine masculine is like blocking yourself. And while there's a seed of truth in that, particularly if it's done from a place of anger, fear, or emotional reactivity, it's far from the full picture. When blocking is done unconsciously, yes, it can feel like you're cutting off a part of your own essence, since at the soul level, the divine masculine and divine feminine are united in one energetic system. But what many overlook is that blocking, when done with conscious awareness and sacred intention, can be an act of self-preservation, self-honoring, and ultimately self-liberation, especially within the 3D human experience. This isn't about cutting cords or breaking a soul bond. That's not truly possible when it comes to a divine connection. The energy between you and your counterpart exists beyond time, space, and physical form. What you can do, however, is reclaim the power of your own presence. You can choose to pause the external interaction, set clear energetic boundaries, and redirect your focus inward. And this act alone is not rejection, it is redirection. It's choosing to come home to yourself. By consciously blocking the divine masculine, whether on social media, in communication, or energetically, you create space for healing. You begin to quiet the external noise and tune into your own truth again. The separation in the physical world can act as a catalyst for recentering, allowing you to detach from cycles of overgiving, chasing, or emotional turmoil. In that sacred silence, you may rediscover your voice, your clarity, your inner knowing. Remember, setting a boundary is not the same as cutting love off at the root. It's a recognition that the love you share with your divine masculine does not need to override your inner peace. When you choose yourself, when you reclaim your energy from the places where it has been leaking or taken for granted, you begin to realign with your own soul essence. You start to operate not from longing, but from wholeness, not from lack, but from deep self-respect. So yes, if you block out of bitterness or as a means to punish, you may indeed be blocking yourself. But if you block to protect your peace, to reconnect with your own divinity, and to restore energetic balance, then what you're really doing is opening the door to your own healing. You're not closing your heart, you're listening to it. And that, in truth, is one of the most powerful acts of love there is. Before we move forward, I invite you to pause and really sit with what we've just explored. Ask yourself, have there been moments where choosing to step back from your divine masculine actually brought you closer to your true self? How did it feel to reclaim your energy and redirect it inward? These are powerful questions that deserve reflection. If this message resonates with you, I encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments. Your journey might help someone else feel seen and understood. Or, if you're not ready to share in detail, simply type, "I choose me," to affirm your commitment to your own healing and inner alignment. Let's keep this space open-hearted and supportive as we continue together. Number 2. The overwhelming feminine energy. When the divine masculine becomes blocked in the 3D reality, something profound begins to unfold. something that often goes unnoticed on the surface, yet is deeply felt on a soul level. One of the most common yet misunderstood reasons for this blockage is the overwhelming intensity of the divine feminine's energetic frequency. This twin flame journey is not just emotional, it is deeply energetic. It activates powerful inner forces, including the awakening of Kundalini energy and the expansion of higher consciousness that transcends the limitations of the physical world. In this awakened state, the feminine begins to access intuitive wisdom far beyond logic. You start reading thoughts, sensing unspoken emotions, and radiating a powerful energetic presence that vibrates with divine truth. But this radiant feminine power, no matter how beautiful, divine, and sacred, can sometimes become too much for the unawakened or not yet aligned masculine. The masculine, who may still be grounded in 3D logic and structure, can feel emotionally and spiritually flooded by this sudden wave of intensity. It doesn't mean he doesn't feel the connection. He does. In fact, he feels it so strongly that it can cause him to panic, retreat, and withdraw. In many cases, this energy is so overwhelming that the divine masculine quite literally runs into forests, into mountains, or into isolation. I've had masculines call me from remote mountaintops, their voices shaking with confusion, vulnerability, and emotional disarray. They weren't running from the feminine, they were running from the tidal wave of energy that they didn't yet know how to navigate. The truth is, feminine energy is immensely powerful. It's creative, nurturing, intuitive, and capable of birthing entire worlds. But when this energy is not grounded, when it is unchanneled and driven by unprocessed fear or longing, it can become unbalanced. To the divine masculine, this can feel like emotional suffocation, a pressure that triggers his deepest wounds and fears. That's why, as a divine feminine, one of the most important steps in your journey is learning how to alchemize this energy. You must take the raw intensity and transform it. Turn fear into unconditional love. Transform the longing for union into creative expression. Redirect emotional outbursts into spiritual grounding. Instead of projecting outward, begin expressing inward, from your center, from your wholeness. This is not about dimming your light. It's about becoming the lighthouse, steady and radiant, no matter the storm. When the feminine becomes grounded in her power, she doesn't chase or overwhelm, she magnetizes. And that, in time, becomes the very force that draws the masculine back, not because he feels pressured, but because he feels safe, seen, and called home. To better understand how overwhelming feminine energy affects the divine masculine, imagine a river bursting through a dam. The water, the feminine energy, is powerful, life-giving, and capable of nourishing everything it touches. But if it rushes forth too suddenly, without structure or containment, it becomes a flood. It doesn't mean the river is bad. It simply means it needs proper channels to flow through. Now imagine the divine masculine as the land, the ground that receives the water. If the land isn't ready, if it hasn't been prepared or cultivated to receive that flow, the water drowns instead of nourishes. I once worked with a divine feminine who was deeply awakened. Her energy was magnetic, her insights profound. She could feel her twin flame's emotions from across the world, and she longed to help him heal. So she poured all her love, her passion, her longing into messages, visions, and spiritual energy, sending him waves of intensity every day. But instead of feeling loved, the masculine felt overwhelmed and confused. He pulled away, blocked her communication, and disappeared. It wasn't because he didn't care, it was because he didn't know how to swim in that much water yet. When she learned to turn that energy inward, grounding it through meditation, art, and inner alignment, something shifted. She became radiant without needing to reach. Eventually, he returned, not because she called him back, but because he could finally feel her love in a way that felt safe and balanced. This is the art of alchemy, not pouring everything outward, but refining it inward until it becomes a quiet, steady light that guides rather than floods. Number 3, the importance of reclaiming your power. One of the most profound purposes of the twin flame journey is to guide the divine feminine back into alignment with her soul's mission and her true power. This isn't about dominance or force. It's about stepping into an inner strength that is soft, yet unshakable, quiet, yet transformative. True power doesn't scream. It radiates. It exists in grace, presence, and authenticity. Yet so often, when the connection feels uncertain or painful, the feminine energy can lose sight of this. You may find yourself obsessing over what the divine masculine is thinking, doing, or feeling. You might talk about him constantly, seek validation from others, or fall into the trap of treating this sacred connection like a typical 3D relationship filled with drama, doubt, and control. But this fixation only drains your energy. It pulls you out of your center and into a place of powerlessness. And when that happens, not only do you disconnect from your own divine essence, but you also unknowingly create pressure and energetic chaos within the connection itself. The masculine feels this on a soul level, and it can cause him to pull away even more. Remember, this journey isn't a romantic fantasy or a never-ending emotional loop. It is a sacred process of awakening. It is the soul's call to rise, to remember, to return to love. Not the conditional love of the ego, but the higher love of the spirit. Awakening is not always beautiful. It's raw, it's vulnerable, and it challenges both the feminine and masculine to face their deepest fears, wounds, and patterns. But when the feminine stops chasing, stops trying to fix or control, and instead turns inward to reclaim her purpose and power, everything begins to shift. That is when true transformation begins. Not only within herself, but within the entire twin flame dynamic. Reclaiming your power isn't just a step on this path, it is the path. Number 4. Why blocking in the 3D can be healing. Can blocking your divine masculine in the 3D really help? Surprisingly, yes. Sometimes it can be one of the most powerful steps toward healing. For the divine feminine, choosing to block in the physical realm isn't an act of anger or revenge. It's an act of self-love. It's a decision to turn the energy inward, to stop pouring your focus into the external dynamic, and instead bring the attention back to yourself, your healing, your peace, your power. In doing so, you reclaim your emotional sovereignty. When the divine masculine is confronted with the intensity of a soul connection, it can feel overwhelming. The raw vulnerability, the spiritual magnitude, the heart-blazing truth of it all. It's not something he's been taught how to handle. So often, his first instinct is to run. He seeks refuge in the familiar. Old relationships, old habits, and emotionally safe routines. He's not running from you. He's running from himself, from the parts of him this connection reflects back so clearly. And in that space of running, confusion, and emotional avoidance, the feminine often ends up chasing energetically, even if she's not aware of it. That's why he disappears. That's why he blocks. And ironically, that's why sometimes you must block too, not to hurt him, but to break the energetic loop that keeps both of you trapped. Blocking in the 3D doesn't sever the connection at the soul level. That bond is eternal, untouchable. What it does do is remove the emotional noise, the toxic triggers, and the spirals of hope and disappointment that can stall your growth. It creates space for clarity. It gives both of you room to breathe, reflect, and realign with your higher selves. Ultimately, blocking is not about control. It's about release. It's about choosing peace over chaos, stillness over obsession, healing over drama. And sometimes in that silence, the deepest transformation begins to unfold, not only within you, but within the connection itself. If you've made it this far, it's a sign that your soul is ready for deeper healing and transformation. This journey is not easy, but your willingness to understand and grow means you're already shifting into higher alignment. Take a moment to reflect. Have you ever felt the need to block in the 3D to protect your peace? What did that experience teach you? We'd love to hear your story in the comments. Or if you're not sure what to say, simply affirm your commitment to healing by typing, "I choose peace, I choose growth, I choose me." Let this be your declaration, a reminder that you are worthy of love, balance, and inner strength. Number 5. Breaking free from the illusion. Many people unknowingly fall into a trap when they view the twin flame journey as just another failed romance or a painful breakup. When we frame this divine connection through the lens of ordinary relationships, we reinforce the illusion, and in doing so, we miss the profound purpose behind it. This isn't just a love story, it's a soul contract, a sacred activation designed to awaken both individuals into their highest truth, power, and purpose. The twin flame bond is not here to soothe our egos or offer temporary emotional security. It's here to ignite transformation, and transformation isn't always gentle. Before either twin can fully step into their light, they must confront the shadows, the buried wounds, childhood conditioning, emotional triggers, and karmic cycles that have kept them small. It's a mirror that doesn't lie, revealing everything we need to heal in order to evolve. Even something as seemingly simple as blocking your divine masculine can feel like you're severing a piece of your own soul. If that action fills you with panic, guilt, or overwhelming fear, that's a powerful sign. It's an invitation to turn inward and ask yourself, is this connection nurturing me or draining me? Am I holding on to something that feeds my highest self? Or am I attached to the illusion of what could be? In today's world, where spiritual teachings are often diluted or distorted, the twin flame path is frequently romanticized. It's portrayed as a destined love story filled with longing, pain, and obsessive reunion fantasies. But the truth is far more empowering. This journey isn't about chasing labels, clinging to suffering, or glorifying separation. It's about recognizing that you and your twin are two expressions of one soul, here to harmonize a frequency that has the potential to shift lifetimes of programming. This is not about losing someone, it's about reclaiming yourself. When you release the illusion, you make room for real alignment. And in that sacred space, healing begins. Number 6, breaking the runner-chaser loop. One of the most disempowering patterns in the twin flame journey is the runner-chaser dynamic. And what keeps this loop alive isn't just physical pursuit, it's energetic. As long as you are mentally, emotionally, or spiritually chasing your twin flame, even in your silent thoughts or fantasies, you are feeding the imbalance. You may experience fleeting moments of reunion, but the connection won't stabilize. The foundation simply cannot hold if the energy between you is rooted in fear, desperation, or unhealed wounds. True twin flame union cannot be built on toxicity, longing, or emotional dependency. It must rise from a place of mutual alignment, peace, and wholeness. That's why, at times, blocking your twin flame isn't a form of punishment or permanent closure. It's a necessary act of self-preservation. It's a sacred boundary that says, I choose my healing. I choose clarity over chaos. This isn't about slamming the door shut forever. It's about creating space. Space that allows you to breathe again without emotional overwhelm. Space to hear your own soul clearly, and space to come back home to yourself. When you pull your energy back, you reclaim the parts of you that have been lost in longing. You stop pouring into a connection that cannot yet receive you. You return to your body, your spirit, your power. And from that space of centeredness, everything begins to shift. The loop breaks, not when they stop running, but when you stop chasing. Number 7, moving into the higher timeline. The moment you pull your energy back to yourself, everything begins to shift, not just within you, but in the timeline you're walking. Your inner transformation creates a ripple effect across dimensions. As you reclaim your power, your peace, and your presence, the entire journey recalibrates. The loop softens, the pain lessens, the energy begins to flow differently. Without needing to control the outcome, you step into alignment with a higher timeline, one where healing, growth, and clarity lead the way. In this higher frequency, the divine masculine starts to feel the shift too, maybe not in the exact way you'd hope or expect, but in his own language, in his own timing. He begins to sense that something is different, that the connection is no longer driven by emotional intensity or attachment, but anchored in something sacred and still. And it's from that quiet knowing that his own awakening begins to stir. You are the spiritual twin, the one who moves through realms unseen, decoding the messages of the universe, healing ancestral lines, and clearing karmic imprints. You walk with the unseen and lead with intuition. He is the matrix twin, navigating the density of the 3D world, learning through structure, logic, resistance, and experience. While your roles may appear vastly different, both are vital to the unfolding of the mission. You are each holding pieces of the same divine blueprint, just from opposite ends of the spectrum. You're not ahead of him. He's not behind you. You are simply dancing in different frequencies, each performing sacred work in your own dimension. And when the time is right, those frequencies begin to harmonize, not because of force or fear, but because the vibration itself becomes undeniable. This is the power of moving into your higher timeline. The journey transforms not by chasing union, but by becoming union within yourself. At Spiritual Universe, we understand how challenging this journey can be. The emotional weight, the confusion, and the longing for clarity can often feel like too much to carry alone. That's why we're here. Whether you're seeking to understand the complex dynamics of your experience, heal from the pain it has caused, or simply find the strength to move forward, know that support is available to you. Through our website, we offer group support and one-to-one sessions designed to help you release toxic patterns and return to your true light. This is your moment to reclaim your power. When you begin to shift your energy back to yourself, everything begins to transform. You are not here to remain stuck. You are here to awaken, rise, and shine. If this message resonates with your heart, leave a comment below with the words, "I am taking my power back." Let that be your declaration today. And if you found this video helpful, please like it, share it, and subscribe to help others who are also on the path find their way. And don't forget to watch the video below the screen for more guidance and support as you take the next step forward. From all of us at Spiritual Universe, we're sending you light, strength, and our deepest blessings.